Sergeant, first of all, let me thank you for agreeing to this interview. By now, all of America has seen the footage of your life-changing headshot last week. Can you tell us the story in your own words?
Sure, Joe. As you know, things went a bit crazy for me after I made that kill. I'm pushing close to 12,000 followers now. Of course, at the time, the most I'd ever had online with me was maybe a couple dozen. Now, this was the night of the assault at Saratov, so half the nation was watching the boys from 1st Airborne over on that assault.
Just for our viewers, you were in action just south of St. Petersburg.
Yes, 90 miles south of St. Petersburg, just outside a town called Luga. But again, nobody wanted to miss a massive jump like over at Saratov, so I only had 2 people online with me when it happened. That was Patriot Riot 2000 and Friendly Ghost.
Interesting. So you didn't have a quorum for the engagement?
No, ma'am. Not at first. This was only a routine patrol. We weren't expecting any trouble. I was just chatting with Ghost and Riot. Yeah, they're always there when I needed someone to talk to, you know. Well, when you're in the middle of a war zone, I guess it can be kind of comforting to have the voice of some suburban kid from Detroit in your headset.
Of course, of course. So it was just you, no backup.
That's correct. I was just kind of standing there, scanning my surroundings. I try to do a little scan as often as I can just to give the folks at home a better sense of where I'm at. That can help with their decision making sometimes. And then Riot notices something in my audio feed. Now, I didn't quite catch it, but Riot's got some really nice gear set up in his living room. He's got my visuals running in infrared, thermal, laser gated. He's got the audio feed being analyzed across a whole bunch of levels. Honestly, I don't understand a lot of that myself, but Riot, he doesn't miss much.
So do you have any idea what it was that he heard?
No, ma'am. So Ghost guides me through a bit of forest. We're trying to locate the source of the sound. And sure enough, I come up to this large open area, and I see 6 or 7 Russian males just kind of standing there. It must have been one of their raised voices that we'd heard. Now, at this point, I couldn't tell who they were or with what faction they were affiliated. Then I see a vehicle pull up some short distance away. And this guy gets out. He's got a bodyguard with him. I didn't recognize him, but I could tell just by looking at him that he was some sort of head honcho. Riot, on the other hand, he boots up some facial recognition software and he IDs him, lickety-split, as Dmitry Semyonov.
The Jack of Clubs.
Exactly. So this guy's a face card. Okay, one of the top 10 most wanted terrorists in the world, and I'm lying down 60 feet away from him in the bushes. We weren't even on the lookout for terrorist individuals at the time. That's the funny thing. We were just out making sure that no local Russians were causing any trouble, and I stumble across him of all people.
But you didn't have quorum, did you? I mean, one of the world's most notorious terrorists in your sight, and not enough bodies in the room to authorize a shot.
That's correct, Joe. With only 2 followers online, I could not legally take the shot. So Ghost and Riot jump on their social networks. They try to get the word out. Of course, any patriotic American would upvote a shot like this, no question. We just didn't have enough bodies online. So, you know what they do? Well, Riot goes and calls up his sister on the phone. And Ghost goes and wakes up his parents. Now, Ghost's parents are real traditionalists. Okay, they've never followed a soldier in their lives. They're old-timers, you see. They've got no interest in direct democracy.
Were they registered to vote?
No, that's the thing. So I can hear Ghost, walking them through registration, trying to convince them how important this is, and they're trying to calm them down, typing their email addresses wrong and having to start again, just like any other old folks. You have to laugh at it all now.
I imagine it wasn't quite so funny at the time.
No, it wasn't. But get this, okay, the situation with Riot was even worse. So his sister's a hippie, a real peacenik, She's got no interest in war at all. She's totally against it, okay? So I can hear him talking philosophy to her, trying to convince her to do the right thing for freedom and democracy, just this once. Meanwhile, I'm lying there with my rifle cocked and Dmitry Semyonov's head right in the middle of my sights. I've got to admit, Joe, I was sorely tempted to pull that trigger and just live with the consequences, but I thought to myself, if I shoot now, well, I'm no better than he is. I'm here as a representative of my country. And if I shoot without a quorum of consenting citizens, as the rules of engagement demand, well, then I'm no longer defending freedom and democracy. I'm just another terrorist.
Those are strong words, Sergeant. So, what happened next?
Well, then I hear gunfire in the distance. I found out later that this was just Samuels and Gonzalez. They were bored and decided they were going to shoot off a few rounds, but it scared the hell out of me at the time, and it sure scared Semyonov and the rest of the boys there too. So Semyonov runs and grabs his bodyguard, and they start running back towards the vehicle. Now, I don't have enough followers online. I can't do anything. So I decide I'm going to do what I can and go after them. So they're running towards the vehicle, and I'm following behind. And just as they're at the vehicle, 3 more followers blipped into existence. So I had quorum. I just needed them to upvote engagement. They're jumping in the vehicle. It's turning over. That's when the votes came through. 5 out of 5 upvotes. Riot had persuaded his sister's girlfriend to log in and vote. Now, of course, by this time I couldn't even see Semyonov, but I'd seen him jump into the passenger side, so I aimed for where I thought his head would be.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
So, how do you think your job will change now that you have thousands of fans?
Well, I shouldn't have trouble getting quorum anymore. On the one hand, it's great to have the support of so many patriotic citizens behind me, of course, but on the other hand, it'll be a bit more difficult to have the one-on-one chats with my followers, but I'll do what I can to try and keep that personal connection.
One more question, Sergeant, and then I'll let you go. The recent court-martial of Corporal Pearson has, of course, made headlines nationwide, and it's raised a grassroots campaign to eliminate the quorum system altogether. Do you wish you'd had more freedom in the field to act on your own initiative?
Well, that's a great question, Joe. A lot of the older guys in the unit, they tend to complain a lot about the whole direct democracy thing, but to be honest, I think I like things just the way they are. It seems to me that, getting your parents out of bed to vote or debating philosophy with your sister before letting a soldier take a shot, it seems to me that's how it should work. To me, that's democracy.
Well said, Sergeant. And thank you. Thank you for your service.
Of course.
To our viewers at home, stay tuned for the second part of our series, The New Face of Hate, Domestic Terrorism After the Austin Bombings, and we'll reveal our latest top 10 list, the best live kills in the Russian campaign.